So when you come upon the instrument and it's already running a sequence, you can actually append the current sequence and save that. So we can see the instrument up here is already running. Over here, there are 3 little buttons while it's running, and you're going to click on the pencil one. You're going to do this all very carefully to avoid messing up people's stuff. But you can do like you did when you were doing your own sequence and add new samples. So if I click new sample over here, or I can actually go to this tab and add 5 samples or some other number of samples. And then I can fill in the new lines of this sequence just as I filled it in when I was making a sequence when no one was running. Please be very careful about all this. If you mess this up, then you'll mess up the person who's currently running. And that can happen. We'll all be kind to each other when that happens, but you're going to put in the data file just as you've done before. Here I'm saying I'm running a blank, and then I've got no special characters in the name. In the data file, sorry, but I can in the name. I'm choosing my data file path as my folder. I'm not going to fill down here. I'm going to choose the correct rack and position. I'm not going to fill down because my information is not going to be the same as the person who ran before me. All right, I'm not going to fill down, and this is Kenyon on top of Kenyon in that case, but when 2 different people are running on top of each other, don't fill down because you're taking their stuff. One important note is when you're doing this, you do have to have sample here, and you have to have 1 in that position, which was already done for you in the starter sequence. So those have to be in there or it'll give you an error. Just put in sample and put in 1 for those 2 columns. Again, for the comment, you can put in whatever you want, and you can just keep filling in lines. So I'm running a blank here, and then the actual sample. And I could fill down here from line 3 if I wanted, because I wrote line 3, and line 3 is my stuff. In this case, I'm just going ahead and filling it all in again. Again, I'm going to put sample here and 1 here in these columns. Don't worry too much about what those mean. I'm going to make sure that the data goes to my folder and not the other person who's running's folder. In this case, both of them are me. I'm going to choose the correct rack, the correct file position within that rack, paying close attention. And then I'm going to select my folder for the method, and I'm going to select the actual method within that folder. Now, when I'm happy with all these, I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, it's going to give me an error here because I'm going to hit save. Sorry, it's going to say error because I left blank lines in there. You can't leave blank lines in or lines without everything filled out. So I'm just going to highlight these blank ones and hit delete. Now I should be good. And when I say save, it has now appended that sequence. And after this person's run is done running, it will now run my samples. After it finishes running the person before me, automatically it will keep going and run mine. We call this queuing up on the sequence.